This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, back with another one. So today I'm going to show you this clip of Cam'ron exposing why Nas and Jay-Z refused to respond to his diss tracks. Check this clip out.
A long time ago, Nas and Jay-Z did an interview together. And they didn't imply anything. They said that you snitched on them in a record. Where was you at when you saw that, and how did you feel? Like, how did you react to that?
I don't remember where I was at. I remember seeing it. But I didn't really care at that time whenever they did it. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Nas and Jay-Z. I don't have a problem with either one of them guys.
Right.
But at the time, not ever saying I could, you know, of course I did a record with Jay-Z, never did a record with Nas, and those are two people, as far as their accolades and music are concerned, I could never ever compare to. But I'm just talking about my mind frame at the time was that, you know, I dissed y'all on the, this was my, and like I said, I have no problem with them now, but that was just my frame when I heard them say that. I was like, this is y'all reaction to my diss record, because I dissed both of them and they didn't reply.
Right.
So, you know, and I wasn't just randomly dissing them because there was nothing else to do. You know, I had my reasons, which I thought was valid at the time, and, you know, 30 years later, they may not have been valid when you sit back and think about the whole overall view. But that was just my opinion at the time. I'm like, y'all can sit here and say this, but the records is out there. It's your go. This is your go? Fine. If this is your go, I won. That was just my mind state at the time. So when I heard them say that, I ain't pay that no mind like that. I was more like, look, y'all get in battles, raps or whatever, beef with each other. And people usually respond at that time. But they took a higher road and didn't respond to me when I dissed them. So that was my mind state at the time.
I was just going to ask you that. At that time, would you have liked for them to respond? And you go back again, back and forth, you know what I mean? Like the back and forth.
I'm not saying I necessarily would have liked them to respond, but, you know, during that era, I would have been ready for a response.
Right.
Like I would have had something, I wouldn't have let it die at just that response. You know, when you're during that era, when you're doing battle raps, let's just take Nas and Jay-Z's beef, for instance, right? They didn't just, you know, everybody remembers the Takeover and they remember Ether. But it was other records before and after that, literally leading up to that. You know, when you're in that era and you're in a rap battle, you're not just preparing for one round or one song or whatever. You're preparing for a couple rounds possibly. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no internet. It wasn't no social media. You know, the radio played it, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not just expecting boom, boom, and that's the end of it. Jay-Z had more than the Takeover and Nas had more than Ether. So yeah, I would have been ready or tried to be ready for if they made a response to that. But it just didn't happen. And, you know, looking back on it, it's cool. I'm glad it didn't happen. I'm just answering the question to you know, my mind state at that particular time. I didn't care if they were saying I snitch or anything like that. My mind state was more like, oh, y'all getting in the booth. Oh, well, or whatever. But that was just the mind state I had.
But when you think about it now, being that we're more grown, you think you overreacted a little bit? Because all he really said on the radio was he didn't like the album. He didn't really go, you know, like he just gave his opinion. Do you think, like now, I'm talking about now, do you think you like I did go kind of crazy a little bit.
Let me just jump in real quick. This is wild because Cam'ron is breaking down a moment in hip-hop history that a lot of people talk about but never really hear explained firsthand.
Looking back at it, it was like, not really, because it was like, we was super duper Nas fans. Even when he said that, it's like, wasn't just Cam making a decision. It was the Diplomats as a group making a decision. You know, we was on tour, it wasn't even promo tour, we was on tour. You gotta realize it was myself, it was Jim, it was Jewels. Remember Mo Sticky was there on the bus, and it was like, man, what we gonna do? This is Nas.
Yeah.
We grew up listening to Nas, but
Definitely.
it was kind of like, where it's our go, and just when it's our go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just us he dissed or me he dissed. He dissed Noriega. It was Noriega's go.
Yeah.
He dissed Nelly. It was Nelly's go.
Mm.
You know, whether he liked what we were rapping about or not, it was our go. And that's what I felt, that you're trying to stagnate what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Our go. Like, it's our go. And we didn't do nothing to you. It was Hot 97 you was beefing with. Like, what the fuck did we do?
Angie, this Flex. He went crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it wasn't, and listen, that was one of the toughest decisions we had to make as a group, because it was like, we loved this. What the f we did to him, it wasn't us, it was the radio.
You had a night to think about it, or you went to the studio that night?
No, we actually had to fly back. We wasn't in New York. we was somewhere else, and we flew back and did like 3 mixtapes in a day, or 2 mixtapes in a day. Think about it, I think it was Diplomat 2, and I think we did a whole mixtape. I don't remember, but it wasn't one song. It was a whole mixtape we flew back to do, and then flew back the same night and got back on tour. So we did all that in one day, all of us. And that was, to me, that was the most impressive part. Not the dissing or Nas or anything, that we were such in our bag or such in the zone that we could go knock out a whole mixtape in a day and go back to touring right after that.
Cam'ron reflected on the past tension he once had with Nas and Jay-Z, describing how his mindset during that era was shaped by the intense competitive spirit of hip-hop and the expectation that artists would answer each other directly through their music, which made him view their silence in a very specific way. He remembered seeing the interview where Nas and Jay-Z suggested he had revealed information about them in a record, and although he clearly recalls watching it, he explained that he did not care much about the accusation at the time because he was fully locked into the mentality of lyrical battle, and in that context he had already sent shots at both of them. He emphasized that he holds no issues with either of them today and respects their careers deeply, but back then he interpreted their decision not to respond in the booth as an unspoken admission that they did not want to engage in a musical exchange, which made him feel like he had already done his part and earned an unspoken win. He explained that, in that era, rap clashes were not quick or simple. They were extended, layered, and involved multiple rounds of back and forth. So when Nas and Jay-Z chose not to deliver a musical reply, it felt out of step with what the culture usually demanded. Cam'ron also talked about how the entire situation began when Nas criticized the Diplomats' music on the radio, which surprised them because they were lifelong fans and did not expect to be caught in the middle of a conflict that was actually directed at the station, not at them personally.